Welcome to our YouTube channel. Here are the NBA latest games result, next game schedule, and the updated NBA team standings as of today, December 31st, 2024.
In the first of 6 NBA latest games played, the Orlando Magic gets a narrow victory at home with a 102-101 win against the visiting Brooklyn Nets. Tristan da Silva led Orlando in scoring with 21 points, followed by a double-double game from Goga Bitadze with 19 points and 11 rebounds, while Cole Anthony hits a game-winning drive of the glass with under a second remaining for the win. For Brooklyn, Cam Thomas led the Nets in scoring with 25 points and Jalen Wilson 16 points. In the second game, the Atlanta Hawks gets an easy road win over the Toronto Raptors with the final score of 136-107. Trae Young led Atlanta with a double-double performance of 34 points along with 10 assists, followed by DeAndre Hunter 22 points and Jalen Johnson 15 points. For Toronto, Scotty Barnes scored 19 points and RJ Barrett added 17 points. In the third game, the Indiana Pacers gets a great victory on the road against the NBA defending champions Boston Celtics, with the final score of 114-114. Tyrese Halliburton led Indiana with 31 points, followed by 17 points from both Andrew Nembhard and Pascal Siakam. For Boston, Jaylen Brown led the Celtics with 31 points, and Jason Tatum finished the game with 22 points. For game number 4, the Oklahoma City Thunder extend their winning streak to 11 games as they defeated the Memphis Grizzlies at home with the final score of 130-106. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led Oklahoma City with 35 points, followed by Ajay Mitchell 17 points and Aaron Wiggins 16 points. For Memphis, Desmond Bane led the Grizzlies with 22 points, and Jay Huff added 17 points. For game number 5, the Miami Heat took down the Houston Rockets on the road with the final score of 104-100. In Wisconsin, not great. Tyler Hero led Miami with 27 points and 9 assists, followed by Nikola Jovic 18 points and Haywood Highsmith 15 points. For Houston, Dylan Brooks led the Rockets in scoring with 22 points, and Jalen Green finished with 19 points. And for the 6th and final game, the Minnesota Timberwolves took care of business at home with a victory over the San Antonio Spurs with the final score of 112-110. Dante DiVincenzo led Minnesota in scoring with 26 points, followed by Rudy Gobert 17 points and Julius Randle 16 points. For San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama led the Spurs with 34 points, and Harrison Barnes finished the game with 24 points. Updated NBA team standings as of today, December 31st. In the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers still at number 1 with the best record in the NBA this season, with 27 wins against only 4 losses, and have now won 6 straight games. The Boston Celtics are at the 2nd spot, with 23 victories and 9 defeats. Karl Anthony Towns and the rest of the New York Knicks are still holding on to the 3rd spot, with 22 victories and 10 defeats, and on a 7-game winning run. The injury-hit lineup of the Orlando Magic team fighting strong at number 4, with 20 victories against 14 losses. The Atlanta Hawks completes the East top 5, with 18 victories against 15 defeats, and on a 4-game winning streak. Down at the 6th spot are the Milwaukee Bucks, with 16 wins and 14 defeats, and have lost 2 games in a row. The Miami Heat are at 7th place, also with 16 victories against 14 defeats. The Indiana Pacers are at number 8th, with 16 wins and 17 defeats standing. The Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons are tied at 9th and 10th places, with 14 victories against 18 losses. Still at number 11 are the Philadelphia 76ers with 12 wins and 17 defeats, and on a 3-game winning streak. The Brooklyn Nets are back down at the 12th place with 12 victories and 20 defeats and have lost their last 2 matches. At number 13 are the Charlotte Hornets with 7 victories and 24 defeats and have lost 7 consecutive games. The Toronto Raptors are at the 14th place with 7 victories and 25 defeats and on a 10-game losing streak. And at the very bottom of the Eastern Conference standings are the Washington Wizards with only 5 wins and already piled up 24 losses. In the Western Conference, the young and talented Oklahoma City Thunder team is still on top with 26 victories and 5 losses and have won 11 straight games. The Memphis Grizzlies are still at the second spot with 22 wins and 11 defeats. The Houston Rockets are not far behind at number 3, with 21 victories and 11 losses. At number 4 are the Dallas Mavericks, with 20 wins and 12 losses. Completing the West top 5 is LeBron James and the rest of the Los Angeles Lakers, with 18 victories and 13 losses, and on a 2-game winning streak. The Los Angeles Clippers are at number 6, also with 18 victories and 13 defeats, riding on a 2-game winning run. The Denver Nuggets are down at number 7 with 17 wins against 13 losses. At the 8th spot are the Minnesota Timberwolves with 17 wins and 14 defeats, and on a 3-game winning streak. The Golden State Warriors are up to number 9 with 16 victories and 15 defeats. Completing the West top 10 is Victor Wembanyama and the rest of the San Antonio Spurs, with 16 wins and 16 losses. The Phoenix Suns are still at the 11th place with 15 wins and 16 defeats and have lost their last 2 games. The chaotic Sacramento Kings remains at number 12 with 13 victories and 19 defeats and on a 6-game losing streak. At the 13th spot are the Portland Trail Blazers with 11 victories and 20 defeats and have won 2 straight games. At number 14 are the Utah Jazz with just 7 wins against 23 defeats and on a 3-game losing streak. And at the very bottom of the Western Conference team standings are the New Orleans Pelicans with only 5 victories so far and already piled up 27 losses and have lost 9 consecutive matches. The NBA will have 7 games scheduled for today, December 31st. In the first of 7 NBA games to be played for today, the New York Knicks will travel to the nation's capital to face the Washington Wizards at the Capital One Arena at 8 a.m. For the second game, the Charlotte Hornets will be at home at the Spectrum Center as they play versus the visiting Chicago Bulls, also at 8 in the morning. For the third game, James Harden and the rest of the Los Angeles Clippers will be on the road against the New Orleans Pelicans at the Smoothie King Center at 9 a.m. For game number 4, the Utah Jazz will try to defend home court at the Delta Center versus Nikola Jokic and the rest of the Denver Nuggets at 10 in the morning. For game number 5, the Sacramento Kings will try to end their 6-game losing streak as they host the Dallas Mavericks at the Golden One Center at 11 a.m. For game number 6, Joel Embiid and the rest of the Philadelphia 76ers will travel to Oregon to face the Portland Trail Blazers at the Moda Center at 11 in the morning. And for the 7th and final game scheduled today, the league-leading Cleveland Cavaliers will travel to San Francisco to face the greatest shooter of all time, Steph Curry, and the rest of the Golden State Warriors at the Chase Center. Tip-off will be at 11 in the morning.